Welcome to the session on minerals and industries. First, let us get a brief introduction about what are minerals and then move on to the second sector of industries. A mineral is a naturally occurring inorganic crystalline solid having an ordered internal arrangement of atoms. It has specific physical properties that are either fixed or that vary within some defined range. Minerals have a definite chemical composition that may vary within specific limits. A mineral is a naturally occurring substance that is solid and stable at room temperature, representable by a chemical formula, usually abiogenic, and has an ordered atomic structure. It is different from a rock, which can be an aggregate of minerals or non-minerals and does not have a specific chemical composition. The exact definition of a mineral is under debate, especially with respect to the requirement a valid species be abiogenic and, to a lesser extent, with regards to it having an ordered atomic structure. The study of minerals is called mineralogy. There are over 4,900 known mineral species and over 4,660 of these have been approved by the International Mineralogical Association, that is IMA. The silicate minerals compose over 90% of the Earth's crust. The diversity and abundance of mineral species is controlled by the Earth's chemistry. Silicon and oxygen constitute approximately 75% of the Earth's crust, which translates directly into the predominance of silicate minerals. Minerals are distinguished by various chemical and physical properties. Differences in chemical composition and crystal structure distinguish various species, and these properties in turn are influenced by the mineral's geological environment of formation. Changes in the temperature, pressure, and bulk composition of a rock mass cause changes in its mineralogy. However, a rock can maintain its bulk composition, but as long as temperature and pressure change, its mineralogy can change as well. Minerals can be described by various physical properties which relate to their chemical structure and composition. Common distinguishing characteristics include crystal structure and habit, hardness, luster, diapanicity, color, streak, tenuity, cleavage, fracture, and specific gravity. More specific tests for minerals include reaction to acid, magnetism, taste or smell, and radioactivity. Minerals are classified by key chemical constituents. The two dominant systems are the Dana classification and the Strunz classification. Now coming to the chemical composition and internal structure of minerals. Elements are the building blocks of minerals. Some minerals exist as single elements. However, Most minerals consist of a combination of several elements joined by a chemical bond to form a stable mineral compound. Elements chemically bond to one another when their atoms gain, lose or share electrons with other elements. Ionic bonds occur when valence electrons are transferred from one atom to another, constituting a respective gain or loss between one or the other atom. Covalent bonds occur when atoms from different elements share their valence electrons with one another to form a chemically stable bond. In addition to ionic and covalent bonds, other bonds can also occur through various combinations of transferred and shared electrons. Of the 112 elements, only 92 are naturally occurring. Nearly 4,000 minerals are identified on the planet Earth, and new minerals continue to be discovered all the time. Now, next coming to the properties of minerals. Minerals have distinctive physical properties that geologists use to identify and describe them. There are 7 major physical properties of minerals. First, the crystal form. Second, the hardness. Third, luster. Fourth, color. Fifth, streak. Sixth, the cleavage pattern. And finally, seventh being specific gravity. Now, moving on to mineral classification. Minerals are classified by their chemical composition and internal crystal structure. There are 7 major mineral groups, which are silicates, native elements, halides, carbonates, oxides, sulfates and sulfides. Coming to the first one, which is silicates. Silicates are composed of silicon-oxygen tetrahedrons, an arrangement which contains 4 oxygen atoms surrounding a silicon atom. Silicates are often divided into 2 major groups, that is, ferromagnesian silicates and non-ferromagnesian silicates. Ferromagnesian silicates contain iron or magnesium ions joined to the silicate structure. They are darker and have a heavier specific gravity than non-ferromagnesian silicate minerals. Ferromagnesians include minerals such as olivine, pyroxene, hornblende and biotite. Non-ferromagnesians include muscovite, feldspar and quartz. Silicates comprise the majority of minerals in the Earth's crust and the upper mantle. Over 25% of all minerals are included in this group, with over 40% of those accounting for the most common and abundant minerals. Feldspar, quartz, biotite and amphibole are the most common silicates. Now, coming to the next one, which is native elements. Native elements are minerals that are composed of a single element. Some examples being gold, represented as the Au, silver, Ag, copper, Cu, iron, Fe, diamonds, graphite and platinum. Now, the third one is the halides. Halides consist of halogen elements such as chlorine, Cl, bromine, represented as Br, fluorine, F and iodine, I, forming strong ionic bonds with alkali and alkali earth metals such as sodium, Na, calcium, Ca and potassium, K. Some examples include halite and fluorite. Now, the fourth one are the carbonates. Carbonates are anionic groups of carbon and oxygen. Carbonate minerals result from bonds between these complexes and alkali earth and some transitional metals. Common carbonate minerals include calcite, that is CaCO3, calcium carbonate and dolomite, and calcium or magnesium carbonate. Coming to the fifth one, which is oxides. Oxides are minerals that include one or more metal cations bonded to oxygen or hydroxyl anions. Examples of oxide minerals include hematite, magnetite, corundum and ice. Now the sixth one are the sulfates. Sulfates are minerals that include SO4 anionic groups combined with alkali earth and metal cations. Anhydrous, that is containing no water, and hydrous means which contains water, are the two major groups of sulfates. Barite, that is BaSO4, is an example of an anhydrous sulfate, and gypsum, which is CaSO4.2H2O, is an example of a sulfate. Now next coming to sulfides. Sulfides are minerals composed of one or more metal cations combined with sulfur. Many sulfides are economically important ores. Pyrite, which is FeS2, also known as fool's gold, galena, which is PbS, cinnabar, HgS, and molybdenite, MoS2, are a few commonly occurring sulfide minerals. Now that we have looked into the various types of minerals, let us know what are the uses of these minerals. Minerals are a non-renewable natural resources, meaning that once we mine or extract them, they will not replenish in enough time to be used again by humans. Industrial minerals are non-renewable minerals that are mined for commercial value and are not used as fuel or as a source of metals. These minerals are either used in the raw form or as additives with other minerals. Industrial minerals are used for construction, ceramics, cement, paints, electronics, glass, detergent, paper, plastics, filtration and variety of other common household applications. Copper, which is a native element, is used for electrical wiring. Gold, diamonds, silver and platinum are native elements used for jewelry. Talc is a silicate mineral used for cosmetics and cat litter. Quartz is a silicate mineral again which is used to make glass. Graphite is a native element used for pencil lead. Halite is a halide mineral used for common table salt. Kaolin is a silicate mineral used in ceramics, coated paper and also as a medicine. Barite is a sulfate mineral used in cement or as an additive to petroleum. Now that we have understood about minerals, let us move on to the next sector of this topic, which is about industries. Now, how do we define industries, or what are industries? Industry is the enhancement of the value of the raw materials through the manufacturing process in a factory, for instance, making cloth from cotton. Coming to the importance of industries. The industrial products provide us with comfort. They help in generating employment to local people and hence prevent migration. They help in the raising of the standard of living. Coming to the classification of industries. Industries can be classified into several groups. On the basis of the strength of labor, they are classified into, firstly, large-scale industries. Now, these large-scale industries employ a large number of labor or manpower in each unit and hence are termed as large-scale industries. Cotton or jute textile industries are large-scale industries. The capital investment in these industries is generally high. The next is the medium-scale industries. These industries, which employ neither a very large number of labor nor a very small number and have investment of about 1 million rupees, are put into the middle scale sector. Radio and television industries are some examples of medium scale industries. Now, the next type being small scale industries. Those industries which are owned and run by individual and which employ a small number of labor are called as small scale industries. Powerloom industry is an example of small scale industry. Next is on the basis of raw material and finished goods. Industries have been classified as, first, heavy industries. Industries which use heavy and bulky raw materials and produce products of the same category are called heavy industries. Iron and steel industry can be considered a good example of heavy industries. The next would be light industries. The light industries use light raw materials and produce light finished products. They usually employ female labor and hence provide them with a means of livelihood. Textile industry, electronics industry, sewing machines are all examples of light industries. Now, next is on the basis of ownership. Industries have been classified firstly into private sector industries. Industries owned by individuals or firms such as Bajaj Auto or Tisco situated at Jamshedpur are called private sector industry. Second one is the public sector industry. Industries that are owned by the state and its agencies like Bharat Heavy Electronics Limited or Bhilai Steel Plant of Durgapur Steel Plant are public sector industries. Now, the third type are the joint sector industries. Industries owned jointly by the private firms and a state of the art and a state or these agencies such as Gujarat Alkalis Limited or Oil India Limited fall in the group of joint sector industries. The next sector is the cooperative sector industry. Industries owned and run cooperatively by a group of people who are generally producers of raw materials of the given industry, such as a sugar mill owned and run by farmers are called cooperative sector industries. On the basis of the source of raw materials, industries are classified as follows. First is the agro-based industries. Now, as the name itself suggests, agro-based industries are those industries which obtain raw materials from agriculture. Cotton textile, jute textile, silk, sugar, vegetable oil and paper industry are representative industries of agro-based industries. Next is the mineral-based industries. The industries that receive raw materials, primarily minerals such as iron and steel, aluminium and cement industries are grouped in this category. The third is the forest-based industries. These industries draw their raw materials from the forest. Paper, cardboard, rayon, tanning of leather, basket industries are all included in this type of industries. Next category would be that of miscellaneous industries. The industries are also classified into the following categories. First, let us know about village industries. Village industries are located in villages and primarily cater to the needs of the rural people. They usually employ machinery such as oil extraction, flour grinding and agricultural implements which are essential for their day-to-day needs. Next is about the cottage industries. Industries which artisans set up in their own houses work with wood, cane, brass, stone, etc. are called cottage industries. Handloom, khadi and leather work at the artisan's house fall under this category. Next is the consumer industries. Consumer industries convert raw materials or primary products into commodities directly used by the people. Textile industry, bakeries, etc. are some of the consumer industries. Next is the ancillary industries. The industries which manufacture parts and components to be used by big industries for manufacturing heavy articles like trucks, buses, railway engines and tractors are called as ancillary industries. Now the next type is the basic industries. Industries which depend on many other industries for their manufacturing processes are called basic industries. Iron and steel industry and power generating industry are included in this category. Next comes the capital intensive industries. Industries which require huge investments are called capital intensive industries. Iron and steel, cement and aluminium are capital intensive industries. The next type is the labor intensive industries. Such industries which require huge labor force for running them are called as labor intensive industries. In these industries, labor is more important than capital. Shoemaking and beadi manufacturing, etc. are included in these industries. Now that we have looked into the different types of industries, let us understand what is the importance of these industries. Manufacturing industries help in modernizing agriculture, which forms the backbone of our economy. Apart from this, manufacturing industries also reduce the heavy dependence of people on agricultural income. This becomes possible because of creation of new jobs in secondary and tertiary sectors. Industrial development helps in eradication of unemployment and poverty. Export of manufactured goods expands trade and commerce and brings in the much needed foreign exchange. A country with high level of manufacturing activities becomes prosperous. Next is about the contribution of industry to the national economy. The share of manufacturing sector in the GDP, that is the gross domestic product, has been stagnant at 17% over the last 2 decades. The total contribution of industry to the GDP is 27%, out of which 10% comes from mining, quarrying, electricity and gas. The growth of the manufacturing sector had been 7% in the last decade. Since 2003, the growth rate has been 9 to 10% per annum. The desired growth rate over the next decade is 12%. The National Manufacturing Competitiveness Council, that is NMCC, has been set up with the objectives of improving productivity through proper policy interventions by the government and renewed efforts by the industry. Now next, coming to the industrial location. Some of the factors which affect the industrial location are as follows. That is, availability of raw materials, availability of labor, availability of capital, availability of power, availability of market and infrastructure. Sometimes industries are located in or near cities. Cities provide markets and also provide services like banking, insurance, transport, labor, consultants, etc., which makes functioning of industries easier. Many industries tend to come together to make use of the advantages of an urban center. Such center is then called as agglomeration economy. In the pre-independence period, most of the manufacturing units were located in places which were near the ports as it facilitated transportation, example Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, etc. As a result, these belts developed as industrial urban centers surrounded by huge agricultural rural hinterland. Now, the next most important concept is that of industrial pollution and environmental degradation. Although industries contribute significantly to India's economic growth and development, the increase in pollution of land, water, air, noise and the resulting degradation of environment that they have caused cannot be overlooked. Industries are responsible for 4 types of pollution, that is air, water, land and noise. The polluting industries also include thermal power plants. Air pollution is caused by the high presence or the high proportion of undesirable gases such as sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide. Airborne particulate materials contain both solid and liquid particles like dust, sprays, mist and smoke. Smoke is emitted by chemical and paper factories, brick kilns, refineries and smelting plants and burning of fossil fuels in big and small factories that ignore pollution norms. Toxic gas leaks can be very hazardous with long-term effects. Air pollution adversely affects human health, animals, plants, buildings and the atmosphere as a whole. Water pollution is caused by organic and inorganic industrial waste and effluents discharged into rivers. The main culprits in this regard are paper, chemical, textile and dyeing, petroleum refineries, tanneries and electroplating industries that let out dyes, detergents, acids, salts and heavy metals like lead and mercury pesticides, fertilizers, synthetic chemicals with carbon, plastics and rubber, etc. into the wash bodies. Fly ash, phosphogypsum and iron and steel slags are the major solid waste in India. Thermal pollution of water occurs when hot water from factories and thermal plants is drained into rivers and ponds before cooling. Waste from nuclear power plants, nuclear and weapon production facilities cause cancers, birth defects and miscarriages. Soil and water pollution are closely related. Dumping of waste, especially glass, harmful chemicals, industrial effluents, packaging salts and garbage renders the soil useless. Rainwater percolates to the soil, carrying the pollutants to the ground, and the groundwater also gets contaminated. Noise pollution not only results in irritation and anger, it can also cause hearing impairment, increased heart rate and blood pressure among other physiological effects. Unwanted sound is an irritant and a source of stress. Industrial and construction activities, machinery, factory equipment, generators, saws and electrical drills also make a lot of noise. Now lastly, coming to the entire summary of this topic. Minerals are natural substances which have certain physical and chemical properties like color, hardness, texture, crystals, etc. Minerals are very important as most of the things we use in our lives are made of one or other minerals. Minerals are mined from the earth's surface. There are more than 4,000 types of minerals identified so far, but few of them are very important like iron, copper, mineral oil, bauxite, etc. Manufacturing industries are the backbone of our economy. Economic strength of any country depends on manufacturing industries. Industries help in modernization of agriculture. Tractor, harvester, thresher, irrigation pipes, sprinklers, fertilizers, etc. are made in these industries. It is a great source of employment. Millions of people are directly engaged in manufacturing. These industries also help in eradicating unemployment and poverty. Export of manufactured items help trade and commerce and our country to earn foreign exchange. Industries meet the basic need of the people, that is food, cloth and shelter. Highest contribution to our national economy comes from manufacturing industries. It brings prosperity, social and economic development. Thank you.